Hi, folks. Back for a very special show. Haven't been up on YouTube for a while. This one is dedicated to a very, very special person I met recently. Minnie, this show's for you. Dream, 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 dream. Dream, dream, dream when I want you. In my arms when I want you. And all your charms whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream. Dream, dream, dream when I feel blue in the night and I need you to hold me tight whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, 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 dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, 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 dream. Dream, 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 dream. Dream, 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 dream. So we might just actually have a little bit of a sermon, as you will, for this one. Talk a little bit about, well, let's talk about soulmates or twin flames or, our special other that we might be looking for in life. Where does all that come from? Well, let me tell you a story about the universe. The multiverse, yes, indeed. This magical place that we apparently live in, that our souls come to incarnate and spend life in. How does all this get started, and how do souls get started? Oh, it's so interesting. It all begins with particle physics. Bear with me, I'm not going to give you a physics lecture. I think most of us understand that there are particles and antiparticles, polar opposites of each other. And it's interesting that we live in a universe of no antimatter, only positive matter or one kind of matter. But the other kind of matter does exist in other universes. And the time at which those universes meet are this magical time of creation when souls are born. Yes, indeed. Any physicist will tell you that it is entirely possible at any given time for a particle-antiparticle pair to appear out of nothing, pure creation. And that's where every soul begins, that magical moment of particle-antiparticle creation. It's very strange to physicists because such a thing requires an enormous amount of energy to happen, to force to happen in the lab. And they don't understand how it can happen, instantaneously and magically on its own. But it does. It has been observed to happen. Most of the time, the two particles annihilate and almost immediately, and you never hear from them again. But each time that happens, two souls are created. And despite the fact that the souls are inhabiting such a small and limited universe of possibilities, those souls mean a lot to each other in that very special time. And this is where most soulmates and twin flames are born. We'll go to another song now. Last night I waved goodbye. Now it seems years. I'm back in the city where nothing is clear but thoughts of me holding you, bringing us near. And tell me, when will our eyes meet? When can I touch you? When will this strong yearning end? And when will I hold you again? Time in New England took me away to long rocky beaches and you by the bay. We started a story whose end must now wait. And tell me, when will our eyes meet? When can I touch you? When will this strong yearning end? And when will I hold you again? Feel the change coming. I feel the wind blow. I feel brave and daring. I feel my blood flow. With you I could bring out all the love that I have. With you there's a heaven, so earth ain't so bad. And tell me, when will our eyes meet? When can I touch you? When will this strong yearning end? And when will I hold you again? I don't really pick these songs. They sort of pick me, and I pick up what's in them and tell you about it. So, meeting again, I mean, that's, imagine if you'd shared enough energy to start a Big Bang, or close to it, with some other soul. For the briefest of moments, that's what the birth of every soul is like. The first birth, not the subsequent birth. Maybe that's what makes life so painful, is we never quite get to experience that same thing again. Until maybe we get to the point that we do. Yeah, strong yearning? How about that? The thing is that, like all souls in all bodies, which, even a little particle is a body, we have decisions to make, even in a very short life. Some bodies in this short life make the decision to annihilate each other, to just destroy each other because they're so afraid of this other thing that's like them but completely opposite in this life, that they can't deal with it, and they destroy each other, and they go and have their next life. Maybe they do the same thing over again. Maybe it takes 1,000,000 times being an elementary particle to realize that there might be some other decision to be made than just trying to destroy this other thing that you experience all of a sudden. Yeah. And maybe you'll meet other souls during that process, and eventually you'll find one that you decide, let's not destroy each other. Let's enjoy this brief moment together and go out and explore what other possibilities we might have and let each other live. And, that's where the soulmates that you really, really want to get back with come from. There may be a lot of them that have given you a good lesson, but you've had a very hard time with. So it's more complicated than, the romance novels would give you to think. And I think that leads very well to what happened to be the next song in the playlist, Chances. There's a chance you will be there. I'd like to know the truth. I'll find it out somehow. The chances aren't too strong. A chance you will be there. Please be there alone. Help me speak of love. Chances aren't enough. One's too good to miss. Chances aren't too strong. A chance is all there is. There's a chance you will be there, wondering what to do, how to play my role. I'll leave it up to you. If I disguise my smile, it gives too much away. What if we can't speak? What then shall I say? Don't you be too long. Something has gone wrong. The chances are all gone. there's a chance you will be there, wondering what to do, how to play my role. I'll leave it up to you. If I disguise my smile, it gives too much away. What if we can't speak? What then shall I say? Don't you be too long. Something has gone wrong. The chances are gone. So you see, that's what life is all about, at least after the first one. It's the chances we take to try to experience the incredible wonder of that first burst of energy that we were born from, with this other special soul that happened to be paired with us. And we can come close, and those sort of create other great moments that we yearn after. And this happens at both a very individual and small level, but it's what drives the universe at a larger level, you see, because after we get done being elementary particles and rocks and the littler things of the universe, we start finding ourselves tempted to take larger forms, to take leadership roles, because that gives a certain feeling of power, capability, freedom of decision that aren't available to these small souls that inhabit in elementary particles or rocks or the more limited forms of that can host a soul for a lifetime. And eventually, we find ourselves in a human form. And that's where things get really complicated, because we have experienced a lot of close calls with greatness, times of power, times where we might have been part of a volcanic eruption or a great earthquake or the forming of a new star. And we've gotten to feel like, hey, we're getting somewhere. And then we get ourselves into a human body. And things get pretty complicated. We're interacting with a universe of souls that we suddenly realize are souls, at least some of them. And, we start playing the game at a higher level. In fact, some of us even start to realize, consciously or unconsciously, that we do have smaller souls that inhabit us. That what makes up our body, what makes up our being, even if you don't admit that souls exist, consists of other voices, entities that have a contrary opinion. Our brain may tell us to have another drink. Our body may tell us this is going to kill you. Our stomach may say, I love this food. And the brain may have to say, yes, but if you eat too much of it, it's going to make you fat. And we start having this internal conflict within us, of which we are the only arbiter. We have external conflicts, too, with the world, because there are oversouls of other things that get in our way. Governments, parents, authority figures of all types that tell us what to do, what we should think, what where we should go that want to helpfully or unhelpfully decide our lives for us. And being a human, you have to manage both this universe below you of souls that inhabit your body, all down to the individual cells and the individual particles that make up your body, or you take in or you expel, you're infected with, and the external influences, which are not just other entities, but they're organizations, they're ideas. Ideas have souls too, of course. Every religion is an idea that has a soul. Many souls, actually, as it gets more mature and starts serving a different purpose in the grand scheme of things. And we get pulled into the conflicts of these things inside and outside and have to make decisions about all those things. And it's a very complicated existence for quite a while. But the one thing that holds us together through it all is this universal desire for finding love. Whatever we think that might be, whatever we hope it might be, and that's what makes the human world go round. Let's do another song. You here in the dark, feeling your heartbeat with mine. Softly you whisper, you're so sincere. How could our love be so blind? We sailed on together, we drifted apart, and here you are by my side. So now I come to you with open eyes, nothing to hide. Believe what I say. So here I am with open eyes, hoping you'll see what your love means to me. Open eyes. Living without you, living alone. This empty house seems so cold. Wanting to hold you, wanting you near. How much I wanted you home. But now that you've come back tonight and today, I need you to stay. So now I come to you with open eyes, nothing to hide. Believe what I say. So here I am with open eyes, hoping you'll see what your love means to me. Open arms. So you see, this song talks about the process of getting to where we're ready for love. We're ready to define love for ourselves to the point where we're able to give it in whatever way we've chosen without expecting anything in return, without any hidden agenda or ambition. And that's true passion. That's true love. The sadness of it is that we always have an objective. We always have the objective of returning to that magical feeling of our personal Big Bang. And until we actually experience the passion of that reunion with that first love, when we're ready for it and not ready to repel it and destroy it, when both are ready for it and not at a point where they're still wanting to destroy it, we will always be disappointed. We will always find that it's not there. It's somehow not quite what we expected, not quite what we envisioned, and we will keep trying. Or we may get disappointed and decide that love is not the answer and go through some series of very dark lives where we pursue other things, ambitions and power, and it can get so dark in the course of many lives. And it will. It will, because the chances are you may not meet that perfect person at the right time in the right place, when they're ready, when you're ready. And that's the nature of the training game. That's why we reincarnate to this physical world time and time again and feel so much pain and so much heartache, cause each other so much pain, so much heartache. And that's how we learn. Eventually, in our own way, in our own time, to be the soul that we were destined to be. And when we become that soul, eventually, you sort of get a chance to make up your own rules. And that's when you arrive at the God stage of the game. It doesn't get easier because you're still looking for that magical experience. And even though you have a lot more powers than you had before, it's very easy to misuse them. Those are the most challenging levels. And we as humans should be glad that those levels were kind of cut off from our planet for a time after the old ones decided that wasn't going to work here, that we weren't going to develop what we needed to develop on this planet, given the supervision of some of the souls that had more power. Well, there's still some around. Occasionally you'll see somebody that has some special abilities that you can't explain. There's a few religious cults and followings that have mechanisms where you can get to some of these places if you devote enough of your soul to their training, their indoctrination. And a lot of that serves a good purpose. It's mostly directed at healing, at making the human experience better, which is a good thing locally, but doesn't really impact the cosmos that much. And that's kind of where, humanity hasn't really got it yet. We've got some idea from, the revelations of people over the ages of the importance of our species and that something special's going on. But we haven't quite connected it to, it's not just humanity that's important. Humanity is a vehicle. The destination is always what's important. And that leads to, as always, another song. From a movie that just happened to hit me today. These are how these synchronicities work. Try to remember the kind of September when life was slow and oh so mellow. Try to remember the kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Try to remember the kind of September when you were a tender and callow fellow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Try to remember when life was so tender that no one wept except the willow. Try to remember when life was so tender that dreams were kept beside your pillow. Try to remember when life was so tender that love was an ember about to billow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, although you know the snow will follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, without a hurt, the heart is hollow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire of September that made us mellow. Deep in December, our hearts should remember and follow. Follow, 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 follow. So, yeah, it's about remembering and forgetting, and remembering and forgetting. That's why every life we take, we forget at first all the other lives, because there are basic lessons that cannot be learned unless you start over many, 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 many times. And unless you learn those basic lessons so deeply that they become part of your soul, you never get to where the more advanced lessons really stick. For example, the first time you find yourself in a life of power, you will be tempted to use that power, and you will want to use it for good. But you will interpret good in very localized terms. The good of your family, the good of your mate, the good of your tribe, the good of your country, the good of your planet, your species. And you will make mistakes because you really don't understand what the greater good is all about. Because the greater good is a very cosmic thing. And the greatest good is getting to cosmic power and knowing that it's best not to use it. And that is the good of God. God is not omnipotent. God is not all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful. There may be entities in the spiritual world, and I know there are, that claim to be God, that claim all those powers and try to use them, and they are sometimes fairly well-meaning. But the real God, the first soul, and the other souls who have advanced enough to inhabit the same level are great parents. And that's what life is all about. The life of a soul is learning how to be a great parent. And that's why we put so much emphasis in our species on parenthood, because it is the most quintessential contribution that we have to give to the universe, the experience of being a parent in a very intelligent, challenged species with two sexes, and the act of reproduction and raising of children as a partnership. There are many species out there that don't have that. They reproduce by parthenogenesis. They just make another like themselves, and their clone army continues, and they find other ways to insert new genes so that they can keep adapting. But yeah, that's another mode of reproduction that works for many species. But you don't learn as much about the tougher lessons of life, because there's none of this conflict that mimics the first conflict of being born as a soul with an anti-soul, your mirror double, sitting next to you. And, now you're kind of seeing how this whole soulmate kind of thing ties in, and why it's become such an important part of our species. Anyway, I might talk a little bit more. I might just sing a few more songs. I think that was a pretty good sermon for today. Well, I know it's kind of late. I hope I didn't wake you. What I've got to say can't wait. Knew you'd understand. 'Cause every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So I'll have to say I love you in a song. I know it's kind of strange. Every time I'm near you, I just run out of things to say. I knew you'd understand. 'Cause every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So I'll have to say I love you in a song. Cause every time I tried to write, all the words just came out wrong. So I'll have to say I love you in a song. No, it's kinda late. I hope I didn't wake you, but there's something that I just gotta say. I knew you'd understand. 'Cause every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So I'll have to say I love you in a song. Well, I guess we're going to have to talk a little bit more, because that song kind of led to something else I wanted to say is regarding God. So what does this first soul do, or what do the first souls, these advanced souls, do if they have all this power and they don't use it? They don't choose to use it. They don't want to use it because they're such good parents. They do what good parents do. They tell you subtly, in songs, in music, in the ways of nature. They give you subtle inspirations, subtle intuitions, subtle and sometimes not so subtle epiphanies that kind of lead you to your path. They give you the option to choose. They don't force you. They don't direct you. They don't order you. That is not what God does. And I don't care what the Bible or the Koran says or any other religious document. They are describing the actions of a spiritual entity that is not God. Now, of course, it is a child of God. It's one of these souls that I talked about that's at one of the higher levels where they've got powers that are getting quite godlike in this physical world. They can create miracles. They can affect the weather. Do they do it with technology? Do they do it with magic? Well, what is magic but technology that we don't understand? So for you science-oriented folks, I'm not cutting you out on this deal. You'll find ways of explaining this. And you are, constantly. The furthest reaches of science our species have reached are getting to the point of, gosh, we're getting pretty close to something godlike here. Yeah, so there's no reason not to listen to what I'm saying and at least consider it as an option, because I'm not going to say anything that fundamentally, if you think about it long enough, you're going to find any way to contradict. Inspiration, passion is how the greater beings of the universe help the children along. They give them signs, coincidences, synchronicities in their lives that they can choose to follow or not, at their own time, in their own will, in their own way. And that's all any of the very most advanced spiritual beings will do to manipulate and control your lives. That's what free will is all about. That's the greatest gift that God and the older ones gave to you. Because you should have seen what the multiverse was like before they invented that whole system of training. It got pretty messed up, and the early versions of this training simulation were very flawed. Okay, we might talk a little bit more about that after the next song. We'll just see where the song leads us. If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you. If I could make days last forever, if words could make wishes come true, I'd save every day like a treasure, and then again I would spend them with you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them. I've looked around enough to know You're the one I want to go through time with. If I had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true, the box would be empty except for the memory of how they were answered by you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find it. I've looked around enough to know you're the ones I want to go through time with. Well, I guess we need to say something more about that song after all. I think that kind of leads me to talking about soul groups. So, as we go through countless lives, we encounter souls that we kind of have an affinity for. Not just that very first one when we were born, but other ones that we shared a particularly meaningful life with. And these soul groups tend to grow and grow until they become very powerful entities in the universe, in the multiverse. And they sort of take on a life of their own. And the soul groups eventually become large enough that they need some kind of a leadership structure. Now, in the spiritual world, leadership works a bit different. Because when you're not messing around learning in this world down here with limited knowledge and the limited capability of a human body or a rock body or a elementary particle body or the body of a star, in the spiritual world, you're living in a very different place where everything is connected. Everything is known. There's instant communication. There's no way to hide agendas. We still have our individuality up there. We still know that we're imperfect souls and that there are souls that have achieved a higher level of consciousness than we have. And we want to attain that, and we want to do what we need to do to get to that point. Whatever it means for us, because we are individuals. Not every soul is going to sit on the galactic council of souls that rules over this galaxy, or is going to be, the next new religion that's going to take over World X so that World X can lead this particular physical universe to some new evolutionary discoveries and capabilities. But basically, these soul groups kind of give us a higher level of organization that self-organizes. That's what the multiverse is all about. The game of souls is a game of self-organization. And it's not an easy game, because every time a major event happens somewhere in the multiverse, which you can envision, if you understand what a fractal is, you can envision the multiverse as a library of fractals of infinite dimensions, which have some ability, limited sometimes, of affecting each other. And, when, let's say, the destruction of a planet happens in this particular universe, that causes the recycling of a large number of souls and causes a ripple in this pattern of what is the multiverse. And that ripple has to settle out. And sometimes it's small enough that it settles out and the pattern continues, and until something else like it happens. And then there will be another ripple. And our solar system has experienced many such ripples in its history. Uh, some of the planets once had life and are now dead. This planet now has life and may one day be dead. It's had other forms of life which were virtually wiped out or completely wiped out, and other forms kept on going. And this is part of the cycle, part of the pattern, and will continue. But it's not like the Hindus thought, an unending cycle, something that's going to go on and on and on and never change and never be over, so that, the only thing you can think of that would be better is getting off the cycle and not reincarnating again. That's not the way it goes, folks. Every once in a while, there's a ripple in the pattern that is so huge that it actually changes the fabric and the structure of the multiverse. The fractal changes its fundamental laws, and everything evolves, has the opportunity to evolve into something new and different and better. And that's what we're doing here. And it takes a lot of energy for that process to happen. It takes a lot of spiritual energy, which is a kind of energy that we don't really understand. It's very tightly related to the energy we do understand better, electromagnetic and sonic and let's see, what haven't I covered with that? I mean, there's the strong and weak nuclear force, there's gravity. All of these energies are ones we have a fair understanding of. But what's been eluding scientists is what drives the whole machine, the spiritual energy. I don't know where we're going to get closer to it, maybe through particle physics, there's maybe through the study of biology, maybe through the study of the stars and understanding, the pattern of the observable universe. But we're getting closer to it. Anyway, where was I going with all this? So we're in the middle of a cosmic evolutionary event, and that's why things have gotten so crazy on this crazy planet. Because the multiverse doesn't care whether energy is good or evil, positive or negative. It's just energy as far as this physical plane is concerned. And the evolution of this simulation, this physical plane, this training simulation which we're in, takes a large amount of energy to move to a new paradigm, especially if the paradigm is truly cosmic. I mean, you're changing the fundamental laws of how this training simulation for souls works. It basically requires the energy of consent of I'm not sure if it's a majority. I don't know what the exact count is. I don't make those rules. But it takes a certain amount of a critical mass of energy, spiritual energy, to lift the cosmos to the point where the ripple that's created by all this energy in this grand fractal is enough to change the entire pattern. We've been working on that on this planet. We're a chosen planet. There have been many others in the past. We happen to be the chosen one right now. Don't get all excited and feeling, oh, I'm so special because I'm a human on this special planet. You know what? There's souls here that have lived most of their lives on other planets in other forms. You got gods here. You've got everybody wanted to be here for this event. So don't feel like you're so special just because you're human. It was largely the luck of the draw to be here right now. And frankly, I think the trees and the dogs and the cats and the rocks that are sitting here on this planet are in a much better place to enjoy this whole thing than we are. So don't get so excited about that. We're special. We're in a special place, but it's not special because of you or who you think you are. You're lucky to be here. It's special because it was made special by the ones who set up this training simulation, the Matrix, if you will, although that movie paints a pretty disgusting dystopian picture of what is a very wonderful and beautiful thing. Anyway, I'm going to go sing some more. Washed away my troubles, washed away my pain with the rain in Shambhala. Wash away my sorrow, wash away my shame with the rain in Shambhala. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Everyone is helpful, everyone is kind on the road to Shambhala. Everyone is lucky, everyone is so kind on the road to Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? I can tell my sister by the flowers in her eyes on the road to Shambhala. I can tell my brother by the flowers in his eyes on the road to Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Tell me, how does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Tell me, how does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. The road to Shambhala. Ooh, yeah. Shambhala. Ooh, yeah. The road to Shambhala. Ooh, yeah. The road to Shambhala. That's a good song. And I guess kind of leads me to maybe one last thought for the day. Where is this going for humanity? Because we all kind of care about this species. We've probably spent a lot of lives incarnating in human bodies, and they've come to be very important to us, me included. So what is this all going to mean? Well, I'll give you a little prediction here. This cosmic evolution is going to create new species out of humanity. We're maybe humanity, well, I don't know if you call us 1.0 or 3.0. I don't really know the full lineage or when you might say our species was good enough to be called a separate species, or just, kind of a long, one of a long line that goes back to apes and pigs and four-legged creatures of all sorts. I don't know. I've lived lives in a lot of these different species, so I'd be hard pressed to give it a version number for you that are keeping track. But let's just call what we have now is 1.0. Let's say that the cosmic bakers didn't institute version numbers until now, until Homo sapiens hit the road. Well, where we're leading to is a very challenging time that is going to bifurcate our species. And many of humanity 1.0 will not survive. Some may. That branch may continue. It may morph into a 1.1. That may seem like a 0.5 in terms of what it's about, but understand that these physical bodies of ours are soul vehicles. They're designed for maximal learning. And new souls are being born all the time as the multiverse expands. We need a lot of vessels for these souls. And from the spiritual standpoint, the physical world is created to optimize the training of souls so that there's more energy to use at the level where energy is not misused. The God level, the real God level, the top level where you're sitting shoulder to shoulder with God with every single bit of power that the old cuss that started it all has. That's where you can be if you work at it. Anyway, so there's going to be a humanity 1.1 maybe that is much like our species today, maybe a little bit more barbaric, who are prepared to take over a world that's devastated by whatever is coming here, wherever it's coming in the planet, if it's coming, when it's coming, what universe it's coming in. There's a lot of potential futures that we may or may not participate in. A lot of potential pasts that we may not participate in. You see, because time has no meaning outside of this physical world. When you reincarnate, you can inhabit any time of any timeline of any universe in the multiverse. And the name of the game, ultimately, what's the goal of this whole thing, you might ask Rob? And he would tell you that it is creating the perfect timeline. Now, what is the perfect timeline, the perfect universe, the perfect thing to build on for the rest of the universe? It's the set of laws that generate the fastest expanding of consciousness possible. And when we find a timeline that expands consciousness to the max, that becomes the new starting point for all future versions of the Matrix, the matrices. There's not just one. There are many. Would you start a lab, a cosmic lab, and only have one experiment going at the same time? No, you'd be a fool to do that. If you could have multiple experiments running, of course you'd have as many as you wanted to try different ideas. But you wouldn't start every experiment from the beginning, would you? Nah. You start it from the midpoint. The midpoint of the optimal timeline is the beginning of everything. Weird, huh? Because that's the point at which the critical decisions are made that determine how long the end point is. And the longer the end point is, the further you have to find the next midpoint. Think about that, mathematicians and physics folks, and tell me that I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to sing now. I'm just going to shut up and sing a couple more songs and see if anybody listens to this crazy performance that I just gave. Just an old-fashioned love song playing on the radio, and wrapped around the music is the sound of someone promising they'll never go. You swear you've heard it before as it slowly rambles on. No need in bringing them back, 'cause they're never really gone. Just an old-fashioned love song, one I'm sure they wrote for you and me. Just an old-fashioned love song, coming down in three-part harmony to weave our dreams upon and listen to each evening when the lights are low, to underscore our love affair with tenderness and feeling that we've come to know. You swear you've heard it before as it slowly rambles on and on. No need in bringing them back, 'cause they're never really gone. Just an old-fashioned love song, coming down in three-part harmony. Just an old-fashioned love song, one I'm sure they wrote for you and me. Just an old-fashioned love song, coming down in three-part harmony. Just an old-fashioned love song, one I'm sure they wrote for you and me to weave our dreams upon and listen to a song. Just an old song coming down. Just an old song, one I'm sure they wrote for you and me. Just an old song coming down. Just an old song, one I'm sure they wrote for you and me. Just an old song coming down. Just an old song, one I'm sure they wrote for you and me. I got nothing to say. I think the song said it all, and it wasn't planned. I found a diary underneath the tree and started reading about me. The words they'd written took me by surprise. You'd never read them in our eyes. They said that we had found the love we'd waited for. Wouldn't you know it? We wouldn't show it. Then we confronted with their writing there, simply pretended not to care. We passed it off as just in keeping with their total disconcerting air. I know they tried to hide the love that we denied. Wouldn't you know they wouldn't show it. And as I go through my life, I will give to them my wives, all the sweet things I can find. I found a diary underneath the tree and started reading about we. The words began to stick and tears to flow. Their meaning now is clear to see. The love we waited for was everyone and me. Wouldn't you know it? We wouldn't show it. And as we go through our lives, we will wish for all our wives, all the sweet things we can find, all the sweet things all can find. That's a good one to end the show on. Thank you for tuning in.